And I think it's very important to know where you come from. As Professor Lahachi mentioned, I come from a very small region in France and a very small town. But that's very important to have a strong roots to be able to face the challenges of the world today and to face the challenge of science and to be thrown upon in this ocean. You have to know which island you come from to be able to face the ocean. And I really admire you for this. And I think, if I may, that your family share this ideal and those values, and with your wife, Ioana, and your children. And if I may, well, your stepdaughter, Angela, who is an archaeologist and wants to work in Greece. Your stepson, Philip, who is graduating from Princeton and plans to work in London. And your younger son, Alexandros, who is following your steps at Brown University. And I think you had the pleasure as father and son in 2013 this year to attend the Society for Experimental Mechanics annual conference. And that must be a great thing for a father to be able to have his son with him in those events. And I would say that France is very lucky to have you and thankful. To have you to help us fostering strong connections with us. Indeed, you are one of the pillars, really, a pillar or a scientific relationship between France and the United States. More recently, you were instrumental in the signing of a new agreement for a master's educational exchange program between Caltech and École Polytechnique. And this agreement, I think, is really now opening the way for creation of a new laboratory for CNES Polytechnique and GPL Caltech. And I think it will really bring something new and useful to research and development, and I really hope this project will bear fruits really rapidly, and we'll have a pleasure to see it existing in the next few months. Your efforts have been crucial to transatlantic cooperation in space and aeronautics between CNES and NASA. You advocated in particular for Earth observation program in collaboration with NASA. And by collaborating with French scientists and by working closely with CNES and the Embassy of France in the United States with Philippe Azin, you have shaped and strengthened Franco-American connections, and more importantly, the friendship between people, between men and women on both sides of the Atlantic. And we know how much is important to have personal relationship to make progress in project, because without those personal ties, nothing can happen. So, dear Professor Rosakis, Chares, it is only justice that France recognizes not only your achievements, but also your person and your crucial role in bringing the United States and France always closer together. So it's my great institutional honor, but mostly my great personal pleasure to commend you and by bestowing upon you les palmes académiques. So, si Philippe pouvait venir, Monsieur le Professeur. Monsieur le Professeur Rosakis, au nom du ministre de l'Éducation nationale et en vertu des pouvoirs qui me sont conférés, je vous fais commandeur des palmes académiques.
Amazing. This was a fantastic birthday present. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Consul Général Cruot. Through you, I would like to formally thank the French government for conferring this great honor upon me, to say that I'm always impressed by the French, my French colleagues' impeccable taste for ceremony. Well, I'm humbled and delighted to receive this honor and to join the distinguished group of individuals who have received this honor in the past, including, actually, the Greek classic scholar Jacqueline de Romilly, the filmmaker Marcel Pagnol, and perhaps those of you that are as old as I am, you may remember some of his fantastic movies, some of them comedies with the famous French actor Fernandel, which I used to actually see in Greece as a young boy. And mathematician Jean-Frédéric Auguste Delsartre, who is responsible for introducing the notion of mean periodic functions. I have been familiar with the works of all of these individuals, but in particular with the work of Jacqueline de Romilly. I remember that during my early education in Greece, I learned about her work on the culture and language of ancient Greece, and in particular on Thucydides, who was, as you know, the first official world historian. However, my formal scientific and academic connections with France really started much later. And as many people said at the time where I was visiting, there was a summer that I was visiting Paris as a visiting professor in the École Normale Supérieure, working at the intersection between engineering and seismology. Now, that was the defining summer because I received an email from Charles Elachi. And that was about 8 or 9 years ago, I don't quite recall. But that email said, it was very short as usual, emails from Charles. Said, go and meet the president of CNES. Cheers, Charles. I didn't know who the president of CNES was. I did not even know really what CNES was. So I asked my spies back at Caltech to get clarification. And very soon I got an address and an email back from Charles saying, you should go and visit Yannick Descata. So I made an appointment. I really did not know why I was making an appointment. It was just a connection between Caltech, JPL, and some nebulous idea. But the magic of Greek food worked, because I was invited to lunch at the headquarters of CNES in Paris. A fantastic lunch. And it was the director of CNES, it was a number of other academics, but also the Director General of École Polytechnique was present. And during lunch, and of course after having 1 or 2 drinks, and there were fantastic wines, we started theorizing about possible connections, and that was the beginning of the whole thing. We ended up almost signing the agreement right there on the table. No, but it was really the beginning of a very fruitful collaboration that I have really valued, and it was a 4-way collaboration. It involved 2 very boutique institutions. I would call them elite and boutique, which are Caltech in Pasadena and École Normale École Polytechnique in Paris. And it also involved another 2 equally elite national labs, CNES in France and JPL in the US, which is actually a killer combination, I would say. And the theme that was an educational theme was also the theme that is at the heart of what JPL and CNES do, which was space, science, and engineering. So what we did there was actually to dream of a joint program in space engineering and in mechanics that would actually accept students from both institutions, and it would be the first, and it would be the first joint master's, a dual master's degree that exists at Caltech. It is the only one, and probably is likely to remain the only one, because Caltech doesn't make friendships so easily. So I'm very proud of this time, and I would like to actually thank Charles for this very important introduction so many years ago. And I would like also to also thank you for this great event tonight, and to assure you and also the Consul General that I will continue doing my best to further nurture collaborations between Caltech, JPL, and CNES, and France in general. Before I step off the stage, I would also want to thank my good friend and great boss, Caltech Acting President Elliot Stolper, for his kind words. He always has something very special to say, which is very true, actually. I'm amazed when Ed is asked to speak, that what he says comes from the heart, and I felt that today, and thank you, Ed. I also want to thank him for tolerating my sometimes unusual ideas about research, education, administration, and especially international relations. So he's very patient. I also want to thank Caltech trustees Josh Friedman and John Cutler, my Caltech colleagues, my collaborators, my students who are here, my JPL friends and colleagues, the great Consul General and the French diplomats who have joined us to celebrate tonight. Finally, of course, I would like to thank my life partner, Ioanna Dimitrokopoulou, for her unwavering support, tremendous understanding of all my crazy schemes, and for her love. Thank you.
Now, I was told when I got back to my seat, my wife was telling me that I did a very bad faux pas, that I introduced the Consul General as the French Consul General to JPL instead of to Los Angeles. Well, Mr. Consul, let me tell you, JPL is the most important part of Los Angeles. In actuality, I meant to give you a promotion, because the next step after Consul General at JPL is to become the ambassador to the United States. So that was a compliment. Now, we're not going to let Ara's birthday go away unnoticed. So if everything works well, the doors should suddenly open and something should show up. I see the door open, and a cake is supposed to show up from the door. Oh, they are preparing it. The chef is still cooking it. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear artist. Happy birthday to you. So now you can take it home. So again, thank you all for coming here. This was a very special, acknowledgement of Ara's accomplishment. I want to thank all our French friends and Mr. Consul General, everybody who came here. So bonsoir and drive carefully. Thank you very much.
It used to fit. Good job. He's always kept up.